Hi everybody, welcome back to Prison Life Diaries. My name is Allie and I appreciate you watching this video. Apologize to my regular followers because of the last week not getting a video out. I was going through some personal things that were causing very severe depression. I was hardly doing anything. Some days I wasn't even getting up and dressed. I wasn't leaving my house. Things are getting better though, and here I am to finish up this video. So I appreciate you bearing with me. 2 weeks ago, when I did the video, I talked about the rules somebody would have to follow after their release from prison. If you weren't here, I'm just going to refresh a couple things. I'm going to refer to the release from prison as parole, even though that's not really a thing here in Wisconsin anymore. It goes by a few different names. I'm just going to call it parole for simplicity's sake. And then the community corrections officer, I'm just going to refer to as parole officer or PO. Again, just for the ease of things. So this week, I want to show you a document that I have here. This is called a judgment of conviction. It might go by other names in other states, but this is what we have here. On the first page here is just a list of, on the first page would be a list of all the charges, the statute that they fall under, what type of felony it is or misdemeanor. And then at the bottom, there's a listing of the prison term, the length of the incarceration. And on the second page then would be any additional conditions of release or extended supervision that the offender would have to follow once they do have their release from prison. So again, last week we talked about general rules of supervision. This week I'm going to talk about the ones that are specific to somebody who is a sex offender. The first is to have no contact with the victim or the victim's family, whether directly or indirectly. They do have to comply with all of the rules of the sex offender registry. They have to fully cooperate with all sex offender evaluations. They have to fully comply with all sex offender treatment that is offered. Here in Wisconsin, prior to release, they have to go through a program called SOT, to short for sex offender treatment, and that's prior to release. And then they may have other things once they get out, things like groups, support group type meetings, that sort of thing. They're not allowed to stay or reside or stay overnight in any other place than their pre-approved residence without prior approval. They are not permitted to have any guests stay overnight at their house without prior approval. So you're not permitted to have a girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, relative, anybody stay in your house without prior approval. There and any other rules set by the PO. Doesn't really sound like that much, but I did a little bit more research into what actually goes along with being on the registry, and so there's some additional things that go on that. So in order to comply with the sex offender registry, and this is probably going to be pretty much the same across the board for all states, they would have to report all addresses, change of employment, school, volunteering, and internet identifiers within 10 days of any changes or of making them. They do have to notify the registry if they become incarcerated. They are not allowed to work with children. They do have to report all email addresses, internet usernames, any websites maintained, or any internet profiles used by the family. So their PO would have all of that recorded. And then they do have to pay an annual registration fee of $100. That's in addition to any other supervision fees that they have to pay. So it's a pretty extensive list. If you sit down and you think about how many internet profiles that you have social media, you might have Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or email accounts, things that you don't think of. I mean, you use them every day. You don't think of having these accounts, and yet this person on the registry is going to have to report all of that. Depending on the situation, they may not even be allowed internet access, or their internet access may be monitored. I believe that it depends on the individual and the nature of the offense. For example, if somebody is convicted of an online crime, trying to solicit a minor, or child porn, or those things that involve the internet, they may be not allowed to have any access to the internet at all, or they may be required to install monitoring software on any devices. Phones, tablets, computers, all of that would be monitored. So I guess this is a little bit shorter just because this isn't a lot in addition to the big list of rules, really, but it's still, I felt, to separate it a little bit, to not make it so long, just wanted to to give it a little bit of its own piece. So I think that I'm just going to end there, because that's all I really have to say about that right now. If you do have any questions, comments, suggestions for future videos, please go ahead and leave them in the comments there. Please do subscribe. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, let me know you like the video. And when you subscribe, go ahead and hit the bell icon so that you do get notified of new videos. I thank you very much for watching, and I hope that I see you again soon.